All right, Fresh, let's go to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. It is the Memphis Tigers. They're 9-3 on the season, and they're going up against the Iowa State Cyclones. They're 7-5 out of the Big 12. You take a look at this game right now. Iowa State is a 6-point favorite in basically a home game for Memphis. Like,
Basically,
are they?
it's their home stadium.
It's their home stadium, right?
Yeah, they're the road team in this game, but it's their home stadium. It's really weird. Like,
how did this even happen? Like,
this comes down to a thing where it's usually a Big 12 SEC matchup. But I think with bowl eligible teams and other slots, this is how you kind of have to pick the next best. But even then, Memphis, I'm going to say right now, it sucks for the players. It really does, because part of the bowl experience is having that trip. You go somewhere cool, you do the stuff. Yes, you're in your home. You're at where you're always at. You're playing your own stadium. You're going to be very comfortable where you're at. All of your friends from the school will be coming out of the bowl game. But the trip of going somewhere, that makes the experience so much better. And I got a feeling that it's going to be interesting to see how that Memphis team reacts, because on one hand, it's a home game. We should have tons of fans, or the entire city who are our fans should be at the bowl game. We should have a dominant presence. But on their side, we didn't travel anywhere. We didn't go, go to Orlando or go to, San Antonio or wherever. We're staying here. Like, it's cool. We love Memphis and all, but this is our home. So how do those guys react and play this one out? There was chances they had a slight chance of being played for the AAC title if they beat SMU and kind of squeezed in. They had a great year, but it kind of made me wish they had more. Iowa State on the other side, 7-5, but they were much better than, I think, the 7-5 record. The Big 12 was very tough this year. They were actually up in that conversation to potentially play for a Big 12 title was up into the last 2 weeks of the year. They were competitive in conference play. Obviously, they lost to Iowa during the season, but they were there. They had a scrappy season. Matt Campbell last year maybe laid a dud. This year they fought back and they were there and they made things happen. I think they regret their 10-7 loss to Ohio, the Bobcats, not Ohio State, the Ohio Bobcats. But they beat Oklahoma State and Kansas State, where it's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team. They lost another tight, 10-8 or 10-7 ball game to Iowa. It's kind of like the but kind of team where they played scrappy, but they couldn't always come through and get wins in the end. They weren't the Brock Purdy, Collar, Brees Hall offense where they were just dominating people, but they found ways to win. They found ways to get it done. And Matt Campbell, I think, showed the true coaching and development of the players that we had kind of missed last year. Maybe last year was that gap year where we're starting to see those guys sort of show up across the offensive and defensive sides, who are showing the fruits of a 3 to 4 year plan in the program, learning the system, developing, hitting the weight room, bonding together, and it put forward. And going forward now with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, it puts Iowa State in a strong leadership position from the head coach down, that they can make some noise in the Big 12 going forward and really be a chance to make a difference. But a win here, going 8-5 or 7-6, that's going to be the big springboard going into next year. Does Iowa State come in here and get and come with something to prove? Like, we are not playing a bowl game. We are playing a road game at Memphis. We're going to make this trip. There's going to be a lot of celebration, but the entire crowd is going to be hostile. How do we mind ourselves when we come to this game? We've gone to Austin. We've gone to Stillwater. We've gone to Norman. We've gone to Lubbock. We can go to Memphis. Come with that mindset that you have something to prove. Just because you're like, we're the Big 12. They're AAC. No, you're going to a legit road game. Be prepared. Come in there focused, business-like, and take care of business. Because Seth Hennigan, quarterback from Memphis, is a dude. And the guy can put up tons of stats all year long. He had a heck of a year last year. He has a chance to show out in his own stadium. You better be prepared to play some defense, because the Tigers will come after you and get and try to take it out. They've had a heck of a year. They've been tested all year. This is a battle-tested Memphis football team. They have 3 losses: 1 to Missouri, 1 to Tulane, and 1 to SMU by combined 21 points. Those scores were 7, 10, and 4 specifics in the differential. These guys compete and they play and they can score. They are not a pushover. They're not a wash. I think they have more. As much as I said about Iowa State and them being a gritty football team, Memphis has something to prove. I think they know they left something out there this entire year. I think the Memphis Tigers at home in the Liberty Bowl get it done, and they do it
Whoa.
convincingly. They are going to take out the Cyclones. They're going to make a statement, and then they're going to hang out in Beale Street and have a fun time.
Oh, Fresh, you just set this up to this. So, I mean, Iowa State, you're sitting there, and the Memphis Tigers don't have to travel. That's a huge advantage. Take a look. They're walking around in Memphis. They're walking probably with their 10 feet off of Beale, walking in Memphis. Fresh, I don't know. Do you really feel the way I feel about Memphis? Now, because I feel a little bit differently about this in Iowa State, man. I think that you're right about Coach Campbell over there at Iowa State. Oh, I spent plenty of time prepping for this episode here to sit there fresh.
Just go to Graceland, man. Just go to Graceland.
I saw the ghost of Elvis. So, anyways, you talk about Iowa State and you talk about Coach Campbell. And last year, he had all of these expectations. He had all of these things put upon him about to perform, and he didn't. And I think that's the truth with Iowa State. Iowa State's a great under the radar program. When you don't have expectations, when you don't expect them to win week in, week out, you don't expect them to compete for a conference title, they're going to do some things and they're going to surprise you. When you start loading up those expectations for them, that's when, the light gets a little too bright for a program like Iowa State, and there's nothing wrong about that. Iowa State's a very respectable program. I like Iowa State a lot. But you're right, Fresh. That defense has got to come to play. Iowa State had the second best run defense in the Big 12. I believe the third best pass defense in the Big 12. You take a look at Memphis here coming in. Seth Hannigan, like you said, he is a dude. The kid can play. You take a look, 28 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the year. Blake Watson, the running back, again, 14 touchdowns by him. It's gonna be a test against the Iowa State defense there. It's his senior year. This kid gets one opportunity. You have two awesome names for a wide receivers. You have Rock Taylor, which I love that name, leading receiver there. Demir Blakeumsky, I think I got that name right. And then take a look, Blake Watson, third leading receiver out of the backfield. Memphis is a tough team to game plan here for. I really think you can't just be walking in Memphis here. You can't just, sit there and say, you got to be grounded. You have to be ready to go if you're Iowa State. Iowa State, what are they going to do on the offense? Rocco has been really good for them. He's been fun to watch for what they've been able to do. The kid's got 20 touchdowns on the year. Iowa State's done it in a very unique way. They haven't done it with like this high power, like massive offense there. They've run the ball consistently. They got a bunch of different dudes that can kind of help with the running attack. And then the defense has really carried them. You take a look, 16 interceptions on the year. Can they force Memphis into some turnovers? If they do that, this gets a long day and an afternoon. I really want to pick Iowa State in this game. I really do, because I love the Cyclones. I love Coach Campbell over there. But, you got Muriel playing piano over there in Memphis. And, with the ghost of Elvis walking around, man, on Union Street or Union Avenue, I'll take the Memphis Tigers in this game.
Hey, give me some Memphis barbecue, some Memphis blues, Graceland, pink Cadillacs. It's gonna be a fun little night there. I think Memphis just has a little too much at home.
I'd love to see you driving a pink Cadillac, Fresh. That'd be pretty cool. We'll see if we can set that up someday. All right, Fresh. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Anyone who's got a pink Cadillac that Fresh can drive around, he would like to take it for a spin, maybe out for a date. He does cook, ladies.